guys, and yes, we have another plane on the table. This is the Eflight Viper 70mm EDF sports jet. This is considered to be a kind of starter jet, you know, trainery type kind of jet, and it is an absolute brilliant plane. It flies absolutely brilliant. It's incredibly aerobatic. On high rates, this has an incredible roll rate. It turns just, you know, it's the only plane that I've flown so far that can almost do 90-degree turns flat out. It's incredibly solid, incredibly sturdy. This one I bought secondhand off a buddy of mine. He bought it new. It's been flown, it's been bashed about, and that's why I kind of wanted to do a little review on it, just to obviously show, you know, how hard wearing these planes are. You know, it's had a hard landing here or there. It's been a bit bashed about. You know, obviously you can see there the front's, you know, had a bit of a paint job on there to cover a few scuffs. You know, the wing tips have been scuffed a little bit. And it has been bashed about. The gear on this are absolutely brilliant. They're solid, just standard kind of bent wire gear. Never had any trouble with obviously the retracts at all. They work flawlessly. And as I say, few hard landings obviously it has had on a few occasions, and they've worked fine. You know, not had any trouble with them cracking or the mounts breaking or anything like that. So obviously for somebody who was getting into an EDF jet and, you know, was kind of learning to land and take off, this is obviously the plane that it would be good for you, you know, because everyone has a hard landing now and again, and obviously to have something that's sturdy and that will take the brunt of it is obviously good, because the last thing you want to do is have a brand new plane, you've taken it up, had a hard landing, it all falls to pieces. It kind of ruins it a bit, really. But yeah, 70mm, 12 bladed fan. It's got a 70 amp ESC, runs a 6S. I run a 4000 Turnigy nanotech in this. So it's, you know, got plenty of grunt, plenty of power. You're getting roughly around 4 minutes flight time on this, depending obviously on throttle control. But with this plane as well, you don't have to fly this flat out. This flies brilliant at any speed. You know, you can fly this really slowly. At quarter throttle, you can happily zoom around, and, you know, it still kind of roars through the sky. You know, I flew this earlier today, funny enough, and we was doing some kind of low and slow passes, you know, with full flaps, and it was just, you know, just crawling along at kind of walking speed, and it was incredibly stable. You know, it didn't even feel like it was going to stall at all. So, you know, it's really good for kind of learning and getting obviously the aerobatics down with obviously the EDFs, because they are, I don't want to say massively different, but the way they fly is obviously different to something that would, you know, like a prop plane, like a 3D flyer. You know, they're a lot faster, and obviously getting used to it all can be a bit daunting, but this plane, you know, helps you get into it really well, and you know, it really gives you confidence in your flying, and I think that is a big thing with obviously flying EDFs, or any plane really, is being confident with it. But we'll have a little look over the top. As I say, it's got flaps that are, you know, solid. All the hinges on the control surfaces are solid. I haven't had it tear off. As I say, I bought this second hand off my buddy, and he's flown it extensively, and I've not had any issues with it at all. You know, it's all worked well. The only thing that I had to do with it was change a aileron servo, because it started getting a bit twitchy, and the nose gear servo for obviously the steering completely packed up. But that's, you know, the only thing I've had any trouble with, really. Grumbles with it, the battery compartment is too small. Obviously on a 4000 6S, where the battery actually goes is fine, but obviously the room for all the wiring and obviously your receiver and everything, there's just not enough room. Sometimes it can be a bit finicky getting the canopy on and getting it to sit flat. I've actually shaved some foam out of the canopy sorry, out of the canopy itself, just to get it to sit flat. But other than that, you know, it's just niggly little things, really. Nice paint scheme on this. You know, this is the original paint scheme on there, you know, apart from the black nose. Really visible in the sky. You know, you can see it really well. You know, and it's just strong. It's robust. You know, all the control surfaces on there are strong. As I say, all the hinges and everything are all really strong. You know, I've had none tear or anything like that. Underside, you know, nice kind of camo scheme. There's obviously the gear as well. You can see that they're just an all standard wire gear, but they're just, you know, really sturdy and strong. I think when you get this, I'm unsure. I think my buddy, when he bought this new, it came with an AS3X on there. Obviously, I run through Turbo Gear, so it's going to be no good to me. But, I mean, as I say, you don't need any gyro stabilisation with this at all once you get used to flying it. It's not wafty in the air. It doesn't wobble about. It's, you know, direct. It flies like an absolute arrow. And for somebody who's obviously learning to fly the EDFs, this is a really good plane. And it's incredibly quick, you know. Don't get me wrong, you know, for anybody who wants to, you know, who likes EDF planes, this is a brilliant plane to fly from, you know, someone who's learning to somebody who's really experienced. You know, I mean, I've flown the freewing F-16s, the FMS 80mm Red Arrow, and the A10s. And as I say, this is an absolute pucker plane, and it's a brilliant thing to have in your arsenal because it's one of them things that you can put a battery in and just throw up and absolutely go mad with it, you know, because it's so stable and controllable in the air. It gives you great confidence in obviously you're flying and throwing it about. But I'm really impressed with it, and as I say, we'll get some flying footage of it. I'll get it out at the weekend, and we'll show you obviously what it can do. But I just obviously wanted to have a quick overview of it because, you know, I was just astounded with it, to be honest. But yeah, brilliant plane, really recommend it. It's built well, all kind of ball link linkages on the control surfaces, so everything runs smooth. It's all sturdy, you know, it's put together well. Everything's, you know, bolted down and screwed together, which is a really good thing because obviously if you do need to change, like when I change the servos in the back there, just undo them screws and the whole lot comes off, and it's really accessible to obviously do any kind of small repairs or anything that you needed. And apart from obviously the battery hatch being a bit, the battery bay being a bit small, it's an absolute brilliant plane. But yeah, cheers for watching, guys. We'll get some video of it flying, but yeah, lovely. Cheers, see you later.